Hi, I'm Tim Zacharias with Cougar USA and your host of Building Value. Have a very special guest today to kick off Season 2, Scott Magee, Vice President and co-founder of Cougar USA. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me. I'm also the luckiest guy in the right place at the right time.
Yes, very much so. His wife thinks the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking today about Scott's origin story for Cougar, kind of his side of the story. We heard my dad's last season. Also going to be talking about the expansion of our leadership team and our partnership and why that has us excited for the future. On Building Value, we go behind the scenes of building operations to showcase the people and products that make buildings work and the value they bring to the community. So can you tell me about where you grew up?
It's a funny story. I actually grew up across the street there in Willowwood and attended the Klein School District. I went to Epps Island, and then I went to Wunderlich Intermediate, and then Klein Intermediate the first year they built it. Just dated myself. And graduated from Klein Forest High School. Went away to Texas A&M for 5 years. Yeah. Then moved back into the neighborhood I grew up in.
Yeah.
And I lived there about 7, 8, 9 years, and then I just moved a little further out. So I've never really left this area. I like it. I grew up here. I'm used to it. I got a lot of friends. It's unbelievable how many guys I went to school with that still live within 5 miles of me. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. And so how did you kind of get into the kind of commercial construction world after graduation?
Well, it really all was by accident, and I'll just kind of tell a funny story. I know a lot of people have heard this, but, you know, my dad's a master plumber, and my uncle's a master plumber, and all my cousins are master plumbers. And so growing up, from the time I could carry a tool, I was on a job site with somebody in the family. And if you've ever seen me turn tools, you know it's painful to watch. And my old man used to just really ride me hard and said, you need to pay attention, you need to pick it up, you need to get better. And I always pushed back. I said, Dad, this is why I'm going to college. You will never see me on a job site once I graduate. And lo and behold, I went out and I started looking for work, of course, as most 22-year-olds, not having a clue what's out in the real world, and an opportunity came up to get into this industry, but selling the equipment. Mm-hmm. And so I jumped on it because it was really a commission-based deal, and I thought, well, you know, if I really hustle, I can make some money. Well, that at least was the theory. And so now it's funny because I sell plumbing equipment, and when I see my dad, he reminds me what I told him 28 years ago, but it's still kind of comical, and we joke about it. But I guess plumbing's in the veins. I mean, I don't install it anymore. I sell it. I do work on it, and I have turned wrenches and tweaked a few things, and actually that field experience did pay off, Dad. Thank you. So anyway, I got into it just because it seemed like a good fit at the time. But my long-term goal was not to stay in this industry. I had to put myself through A&M, and when I graduated, I was in incredible amounts of debt, and I really wanted to go to law school. So I took this job to try to get some debt and save some money, and then wanted to quit every day for 2 years. It was absolute miserable experience. Not sales says if you're in it, you know it's tough, but when you start from not knowing anybody, anything, it was incredibly difficult. And thank God I stuck it out, because by the time I started developing relationships and learning the equipment and not being green per se, it started to just feel natural, and it, you know, started making money and started having fun with it, right?
Yep.
And the longer you go, it doesn't feel like a job, you know. It's just second nature now, and I have a lot of good contacts and partners and friends in the industry, so it's really kind of nice. And you know, we've always been such a small company that I can choose who I call on and don't call on, which is changing because we're growing. But anyway, It's been fun.
Yeah. And so how did you cross paths with my dad?
Well, that's a really funny story. Your dad worked for a company called R.L. Jones, and I knew your dad from Aspie, and your dad was a customer, and it's really a funny story. I was the Keckley rep, and he used to buy drip pan elbows from me, and I didn't have any clue what a drip pan elbow was, to be honest. I just know that he bought a few of them. Well, back in the good old days when I was really trying to network, I would deliver a $2 part, and so I got to know your dad, and I found out that he sold steam traps and PRVs and so forth, and it really was a stroke of good luck on my part, not skill like your dad thought, but I got in really good with NASA back then, and the contractors that had the service contracts out there, and basically they were giving me a list of things to go get for them, even though I had no clue what they were, right? So I would send them to your dad, and your dad would sell them to me. And the funny part was I thought he was an Armstrong steam trap rep, and he wasn't. He was buying them from Texas Steam and reselling them to me, and then I was reselling to my customer. And at that time, NASA was going through a lot of upgrades, and I was selling a lot of steam equipment. Had no clue what I was selling, but I was selling a lot of it. Well, that kind of got your dad's attention because he's like, hey, who's this guy selling all this steam equipment, paying a double markup and still selling it?
Now I know why NASA's budget's so big.
Yeah, I could tell you some NASA stories, actually, that'll blow your mind. But so we got to know each other through that way. And then, he kept telling me, hey, when you want to make the move, you need to come see me. And I didn't really take him seriously because at that time I was kind of looking bigger picture. And what I mean by that is I worked for a small mom and pop, and I wasn't ready to go work for a small mom and pop again, basically. Right. So I checked out a lot of the bigger companies in town, and it just didn't feel right, to be honest. I didn't like what I heard. I got a sales pitch. Then I went and called up your dad, and I said, let's talk. And he felt real genuine, and he put all his cards on the table. And what really attracted to me wasn't the money or anything like that. It was the opportunity to make my own way, because your dad was really a one-man operation at R.L. Jones, and he made that pretty clear. And I thought, man, this is a really great opportunity to grow and develop something on my own, not go work for somebody and be pigeonholed, Right. So the whole market was open. And to be honest, your dad is adored in this industry, very well respected. I knew that before I went to work for him. And, of course, I gravitated to your dad. I liked him a lot. So I took the job simply for opportunity. The funny thing about that was I always say, you hear me say a lot, it's not who you know, it's not what you know, but it's who you know. And there's a lot of truth to that, because I didn't know anything back then. I really didn't. And the funny story that I tell today is when I went to work with your dad, and I went there to start learning the products, and I was like, wait a minute, you don't rep any. You
Right.
buy and resell everything. How do you make a living? And I had a lot of doubt. I was like,
I immediately regret my decision.
Yes, I was like, wow, I don't have the years experience of your dad. I'm not up on controls. My God, I'm competing against guys that can buy this direct. So I was really freaked out at first, but then your dad calmed me down, and he said, man, you go, boy, you go. That was his thing. You go, boy, you go. So I did, and I can say it was the best thing I ever did, because your dad has now with the big company. Back then when there was two of us, that's all there was. And he was very patient, very understanding, showed me stuff several hundred times until I got it. But he never lost his patience with me, and he was very encouraging and became a great mentor. And I knew early on that I was not going anywhere, because I didn't have that before.
Sure.
And so it was nice. And I mean, I just would name drop and doors would open, and that's the truth. And so I rode your dad's coattails for years and leaned on his expertise, and it was a great experience. And so here we are.
Yeah, I was going to say, fast forward, almost 10 years before you started Cougar, right?
Yeah, I worked 3 years for my first employee. Then your dad and I worked together about 6.
6 years.
Yeah, and then we hit a real crossroads at that time. And I think some people know the story and others don't. But your dad and I started picking up lines, and we started becoming successful. And we just didn't jive with the ownership at R.L. Jones. And I won't go into the details, but we started to fracture a little bit. And I knew long term I couldn't stay there. You know, I was going to start getting limited on what I could do. Dick was pulling in the reins, wanted to go a different direction. And that was probably a lot of sleepless nights because I was going to leave. I started interviewing to leave and make another move again, right? And then I kept thinking to myself, man, can I do this on my own? And I approached your dad and I told him, I said, I love you. I love working with you. I appreciate everything you did, but I'm not going to stay here. And he said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I've been interviewing, and, man, I sure would like to own my own company. I said, the unfortunate part about that is we'll be competitors. And your dad basically said, no, we don't have to be competitors. He goes, your mind is exactly where my mind is. And he goes, could you wait a year? And I said, what do you mean wait a year? And he goes, I want to break off and do my own thing. And I said, man, that's great. And he goes, but I need a year to kind of pull things together and make sure everything was aligned. And,
sure.
And, well, then I immediately told him, well, great, I'll wait a year and I'll just come work for you, you know?
Yeah.
And your dad said, no, you're not going to work for me. You're going to be my partner. And I said, Mike, that's awesome, but I don't need to be a partner. I said, just put me as a salesman on commission and let me go, and believe me, I'll be happy. And your dad resisted, which I'm thankful for. But he really made it easy for me because in our partnership, he basically ran the company as far as people issues, financial issues, dealing with problems. I mean, I was strictly a salesman. So it really was ideal for me because I really was just a salesman, but I had half the company, which your dad is very generous, and which is another great thing about your dad. But so it worked out really well. And then, of course, now we're into the transition, which we're probably going to talk about a little later in this episode. But I have no problem going back to the way it was. But anyway.
Yeah, so that was it's funny to hear you talking about that because I remember kind of that whole period and y'all breaking off and starting the company, and I was just leaving for A&M, and so missed some of the kind of the real early days and seeing all that, but it's always fun to kind of hear you guys look back and talk about it. And I know there was a lot of struggles to get it off the ground, but in a lot of ways it was kind of a spin-off. You had a lot of your customers and vendors and things willing to follow you guys on to Cougar, which was awesome. And to join about 4 years later and for me, and then fast forward, now we're starting our 19th year.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
I'll tell you what's been amazing about that 19 years, and I don't know why I did this, but the other night I found our business plan that we wrote back in 2002 to the bank when we tried to get financing. And we listed our competition and we listed our product mix. 4 of those competitors are no longer in business. Now, they're spin-offs too.
Sure.
Now, but 4 of the 6 that we were competing with 18 years ago are gone, which is kind of a testament to that we survived, right? Which is kind of humbling in a lot of ways. And then I looked at the products we sold. We don't sell any of those products anymore. And And that was always the battle early on, was being a 2-man, 3-man operation. Nobody wanted to talk to us. You guys don't have enough guys on the street. You're a small player. It was very frustrating. And we didn't have one line that was $1 million. And then as things unfolded and we were able to get bigger and better manufacturers is really when we took off, right?
Sure.
And I remember that day vividly when we got Grundfos. It was amazing, and that took us to a whole nother level. But yeah, it's to look back 18 years ago and to today is pretty wild.
It's a little bit of a change.
It is. It's a big change.
It's in a good way, and it's kind of been an evolution, like you said, that we're not competing against the same people, not selling the same products, and now we're kind of going through the next kind of phase of that evolution with my dad and I transitioning his portion of the business, expanding the leadership team, and doing the shared services with STH. All of those things, kind of getting us ready to take us to that next level. And so I'm really excited, when I look forward to our partnership and where this thing is going. I think we're going to be hopefully having a similar conversation, 18 years from now, looking back, going, "Oh man, I can't believe we were doing that then. Look where we are now," kind of a deal. So
yeah.
So kind of with that in mind, when you're looking forward into this year, this 2021, coming out of 2020, which was obviously just a crazy year for everybody. But I feel like we have some things to be excited about. What's got you excited for this year?
Well, there's a couple of things that got me real excited. We actually have a sales team. It's just not your dad and I anymore. There's 6 of us. We have a very strong engineering presence, which we have not had in the past. We just kind of dabbled in that, and that's really, I think, going to help take us to the next level, because we did add some product lines to the mix that are not Me Too products. So
right.
I'm excited about that. And then the other big change is we have 3 service techs now. I don't carry tools anymore. I can't even tell you the last time I was on a job site, which is pretty amazing considering I used to live on them. And then, of course, with you being on board, not now that you're bought into the company, but even before all the structure that you've brought in, it's funny to look back when we started. I was like, man, Mike, if we can just get to 2.5, 3 million, man, we'll be good. We blew by that a long time ago, and we went from 5 employees to 28, and so your dad and I were sales guys. We weren't real well prepared for that growth. We didn't control that growth very well. You live and learn, right? So that's the biggest change. The sales team, to where we have multiple sales guys, which looks attractive to manufacturers and, of course, drives the numbers up. The service team, and then having you on board. And then really the thing that I don't want to leave out is our group as a team. And we're, other than your dad and myself, we're pretty young. Actually, we're extremely young. And I'm really proud that they've all come together and they're growing and they're sticking it out, because it's tough when you first start. It's a lot to know. These guys have toughed it out, and they're getting good. They understand how business runs. They know how to do quotes. They know how to do service, and that's nice.
Yeah.
And so our team now is really strong. They got 2, 3, 4 years underneath them, and they're doing a great job. And they make your dad and my job a lot easier. But that also allows us to go to the next level, because I don't have to worry about those things anymore. They get taken care of whether I'm here or not, and I can really focus on trying to sell more, which you remind me of daily. But that's what I really look forward to, because we are, I think, laid the groundwork to run like a corporation.
Yeah.
And
hopefully still feel like a small company, right? Like I think for a long time, customers and guys out in the field and the end users, everybody knew my dad, they knew you, but they didn't know a lot of our inside team and who was kind of behind the scenes doing stuff. And so now for them to be able to step up and directly communicate with the customers and taking care of them, I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because what I've noticed a change in the company is, like, our service techs like EJ and Miguel and Isaiah, the field guys don't call me anymore. they only call me if they have an issue, right? And I got some customers which they understand that, you do lunch and learns and you're out doing calls and you're on the road, and they know they can call Todd, Heather, or James, or Kim, or Daniela and get something taken care of. And I'll go by and see a customer, and I go, man, I just feel neglected. I haven't heard from you in a while. And he goes, well, I just placed an order for this and this, and I talked to someone. Why do I need to call you? You're just going to give it to them. And I was like, okay, well, you're saying you don't need me anymore? No. But that's been a little getting used to, right?
Yeah.
Because, I remember the days when everything came through me, and that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, but I think it's a testament to people feeding off of the passion that you guys have for serving those customers, and they've seen what happens when we do that, longer term. And you look at like the Nice Watch program that Randy and the guys developed, and we had 3 calls over Christmas Eve, and we had people jumping at the opportunity to take care of them, and that's not something that just happens out of nowhere.
No, and it's a testament to the guys that we have. I mean, EJ and Miguel will not let me take a call. They just won't do it, and they'll go out to the job site and tell those guys, you call me before you call Scott, and they do. They don't bother me. Not that they bother me, but I miss those calls sometimes. But those guys really step up, and Kim and Heather, calling the customers direct and getting answers now, and I'm a true salesman now, so I work about 12 hours a week. No, I'm just kidding.
Your golf game's incredible.
Yeah, my golf game's getting better, but yeah, it's different.
Yeah. No, I think it's those things have been going really well, and like you said, we've brought on some of the new products that will hopefully give us those opportunities to grow and take advantage of that support team even more. So if you look at FTC, for example, coming off a pretty good year last year, what if we're looking forward to 21, what or kind of back on 2020, what have been kind of the successes with the FTC tanks?
Well, I don't like to give my competition too much ammunition in case they're seeing this, but when you brought FTC to my attention, and I saw it and I read up on it, I was like, yeah, we got to have this. And I called Kareem, and by the way, he's fantastic. And within 5 minutes, we're like, yeah, let's do this. And it really energized me again, because we're known for Booster Pack, we're known for Grundfos, and we do a tremendous job. And I don't know how much market share we have, but I don't think we could get much more. I think we're pretty much where we're going to be, because everybody has friends. And so I think we're kind of maxed out there for the most part. And FTC, I just knew that there was unlimited opportunity, but we were starting from ground zero, and nobody knew who FTC was. But that also was fantastic, because I hadn't had anything new to show to our customers, our engineers, or owners in a while. So I hit the road pretty hard with that product, and it's been exciting to see the growth and people gravitate towards it, because it is. I know sales guys say this all the time, but it's a game changer. It's the best product on the market. It addresses all the shortcomings of what exists now, although you may hear different from the competition. But it's a tremendous product, and it's a hard sell, because it's not inexpensive. I mean, we can't sell it based on price.
Right. But I mean, you look at most of the products that we sell, we typically are looking for the best on the market.
Yes, and we don't sell on price, and I'm kind of proud of that. I get a little frustrated at times, kind of going back a little bit. Your dad was like, hey, early on in my career when I was losing orders, I'd get really upset, and he would kind of ship the ship, keep it straight. He goes, no, we provide this service, and we're going to do this, and we're going to stay above that game of giving stuff away. And slowly the tide turned. I mean, we still lose orders. Everybody does, but I'd rather sell a quality product that I can sleep at night than moving large volumes and not servicing it.
Yeah, and we've had some successful installs of the FTC tanks, and for anybody that's not familiar with those, it's a modular fiberglass tank we're using primarily for the domestic and fire water storage requirements in the commercial buildings before the booster pumps, the fire pumps, with the city code requirements. But there's a lot of tons of applications for water storage tanks. But it's been cool to see it kind of come full circle, have those projects go through, be successful, and get the positive feedback from the customers.
Yeah, and just it's always great when everything has planned and it's smooth and we don't want hiccups. But we've kind of earned a reputation of when there is an issue, we get it resolved and do whatever it takes. And just to share kind of a neat story was the first tank we ever sold was to a very good customer of mine that took a leap of faith, and an engineer that took a leap of faith, because we didn't have one installed in Houston. And little behold, in the first one we had a leak, right? And I was like, oh my God. And the GC, got all fired up, wanted to have a meeting with everybody in the room. And what was awesome is I didn't have to say 2 words. The contractor and the engineer just said, hey, you need to calm down. He goes, we have no doubt that Cougar will fix this issue. Just let them talk. And that's nice.
Yeah.
And so they calmed down the room, and the GC said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, we're going to try this. And he goes, I want a guarantee. And I said, well, there's no guarantees, but I guarantee if that doesn't work, we got plan B and C.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we did it, and then it went over, and then the contractor was kind of like, I don't know why you were so upset, but I don't know if people are used to that kind of service. I mean, I think we really do go above and beyond, and the guys that we work with know that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that hasn't been an issue.
No,
since
that's the only one that leaked, and it was a learning curve on our end.
Yeah, it's been a great product, great support from FTC, and really kind of ideal for both aftermarket and new construction. It being modular, built on site by our guys, and overall it just seems to be going really well.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be like a lot of the products we sell. It's going to last a long time. That I'll never sell any repair parts or replacements on it. It'll be for the next generation coming up. But,
with that 40-year service life on it, it's been a few times where I've replaced. I've sold replacement booster packages in buildings that my dad has sold old Namco systems in, and that's been pretty fun. But I don't think we're going to see, it might be our kids before it's time to replace these FTC tanks.
Well, it's funny you say that. I think to date we have not changed out a booster pack either.
No.
So.
And that's going back to 2002. 2007 probably.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
It all starts to blend together.
That's what happens when you get older.
I know.
So, similar kind of line, sticking with the fiberglass theme, another kind of, I would say, not necessarily a new product, but new to us again, is the TowerTech cooling towers.
Yeah, that's going to be probably a little bit more challenging for us because it's a mechanical type product, and it is they just do things different. And so we have to really hit the engineers and owners and educate them on why they should use that tower. And I firmly believe that everybody's hands was going to be forced eventually to go to that type of tower, but it's been a slow process.
Yeah, but it's a really interesting piece of technology, the way that they've kind of flipped it, a normal tower upside down, and try to address all of the issues that can arise from a conventional tower. And we've got some installed in and around the Houston area, and really satisfied end users with them. So
yes,
I think there's a big potential for those, especially the more that sustainability, water conservation, those types of things, or energy savings are driving the conversation.
Yeah, especially if we just educating the owners. I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah, and a lot of people have never even seen it before. So, I think there's a big opportunity for that. And we've got the baby tech here at the office, and can show that off. It's pretty cool to be able to see kind of the internals of that tower. And the other kind of mechanical product that we've been pushing into recently, or kind of again, are going to be the HVAC pumps.
Yes,
with
and
Grundfos.
with the skidded systems. I've actually been a proponent of skidded systems for 20 plus years, and I've sold a handful over the years, but nothing like Grundfos, where it's all based on efficiencies and turn down and just so compact and easy. It's really a no-brainer. I mean, the market's going to go that way. Everybody can do it. Not as well, but they can do it.
Well, I think the big thing, there's two things that stick out to me for the Grundfos offering. One is the CRXL pump, the large vertical multi-stage pump design, very similar to what we use on the booster packages, very efficient, easy to work on. And then its kind of counterpart is going to be the LCS kind of VLS series, where it's the split coupled, larger centrifugals that don't require alignment, things like that. So kind of something new on the pump side.
Well, don't forget about distributive pumping. I mean, that's going to be new too.
Right.
And
I was going to say, the other half is the controls.
Yeah, and Grundfos is just beyond everybody. So we'll get there. I mean, it's a slow process, but once people understand it and design around it and see it, it's going to be second nature.
Yeah, so. I think for a while and rightly so. I mean, the focus is on the chiller. I mean, it's the largest piece of equipment in that whole loop. But once you get that chiller to a certain efficiency, you can only improve it by improving the chill water and the condenser water. And so, having the pumps and the controls and the tower to complement the chiller are going to be what'll get that efficiency to the next level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, business is changing, and I see it. I mean, you got guys that were my age when I started, and, they did it one way, and they haven't changed in 25 years, and they're not going to change for the 5 or 10 they have left. But the new young engineers are looking at different designs and really digging in on how to do things more efficient and compact, and you name it. Building automation is coming into play big time here, and so the change is coming.
Absolutely.
And I'm a little excited about that. Now, unfortunately, in my sales career, I deal with the older guys. I have to get better with the younger crew that is coming in. But you've done a tremendous job with the classes and the training, and the lunch and learns are really helping out. And it's interesting to see the changing of guard in a lot of these companies.
Yeah, and I think you're going to continue to see that trend of the virtual training. We're going to continue that for sure. And like you said, the technology in the buildings is only going to get more prevalent. And so I would agree. I see the younger generation grabbing onto that and running with it.
Yes.
So we'll just have to get you on TikTok so that you can connect with Gen Z.
No doubt. No doubt.
Nice. Well, any other, we're kind of looking out longer term, just your, in general, what's got you excited about kind of coming into this year or the opportunity going forward?
Well, I don't really know how to answer that question. You know me pretty well. I'm always over optimistic, and I shoot for the stars and always think I can get there, or we could get there. Mm-hmm. And sometimes reality slaps me in the face. But I am excited because we have a lot of toys in our box, and it's just finding the guys that appreciate what we have and what we can do. But what's got me excited is we're pretty solid, and the challenge is how do you grow that? And we have tough competition out there, and just got to find a way to make it work. But I think the one thing that has always served Mike and I very well is we truly do enjoy what we do. And would I love to make $1 million a year? Yeah. But we really don't think about it. We just think about enjoying the ride, because that's what it is, right? And I really take a lot of pride in that, during COVID, we didn't lay anybody off. And, my goal is to make sure that everybody in this company does well and succeeds, and that they're happy, because when your employees are happy, it just resonates, and people don't drag coming to work. And we hear that from our customers, like, my God, your inside crew is just, they're happy when we call. I'm like, well, yeah, they get it, But I'm very proud of what we built and what we've done and our reputation and how we do things. And, every year I pinch myself. So you probably plan better than I do and know what's around the corner before I do. But it's, we just keep growing and growing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. I agree. I mean, even 2020, there were parts of it that weren't so fun, but we finished off strong. We had a good, safe Christmas party that went very well. Probably the best Christmas party that we've ever had, and to take that momentum into this year and into the future. I think we're got nowhere to go but up, and hopefully we'll be able to grow the team and everything along the way.
Yeah, and the other thing we didn't mention that I'm really excited to see where it goes is our systems.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, Steve is incredible. Don't ever get in a conversation with him because you'll be there a couple hours, but he does a fantastic job. And one of the challenges is finding those guys around the country that could sell our product, but it is exciting when we find a Hurley or a Dolphin or an STH or a Merriam or an Osborne. I mean, those guys, it's awesome.
Yep.
And, seeing our product all over the country is, 10 years ago, I never would have thought it.
Yep.
And, we got panels overseas. I mean, it's crazy to think. And we're just scratching the surface. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Absolutely. No, I think the growth potential for systems is pretty big. Like you said, putting out, we have a pretty good standard offering, and then also have the ability to do some custom panels as well. And kind of coming from that rep side where we have that field experience, bringing that to the table for the panels seems to be well received by the reps, and hopefully we can find some others that want to rep the product.
Yeah, because one thing I've learned in anything that we do is everybody wants instant gratification, instant success, and I've been in it long enough to know that you got to take your time and do it right and build it, and it usually takes a year, 2, 3, then you look back and go, wow, look where we came from. But it is a slow process, and once you start gaining traction and people's trust and you do a good job, it tends to explode, and we're exploding on the system side. And so that's, if you look at our reps, we've had several reps double in size this year,
Yep.
which is tremendous. And so they're starting to hit their stride, and as they get consistent and we add 1 or 2, it's a pretty awesome deal.
Yeah, just think if you were to sell a couple control panels, how good our numbers would be.
No doubt. No doubt.
Oh, awesome. Well, any other kind of closing thoughts or words of advice?
Advice to who?
Anyone in the industry, kind of starting out, anybody, that, might benefit from your old sage wisdom that you have now.
Just be yourself, be honest, and work hard, and it'll pay off, but you be patient. There's a lot to learn. I learn stuff every day, and I have some nephews coming up that are deciding what they want to do, and I tell them sales is a great opportunity because you get out of it what you put into it. If you work hard, good things happen, and if you don't work hard, they just don't happen.
Right.
And I'm a testament to that. I remember when I started, if I got a $5,000 order, I was jumping, for joy. And it's not uncommon to get a 6-figure purchase order now. And 10 years ago, that was that was quite the feat.
Right.
Now I'm kind of like, man, why didn't I get that? But
you still get excited about the $5,000.
I do. I get excited about every order. I really do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, really enjoyed having you on the show today, kicking off season 2 of the Building Value podcast. And like I said, really looking forward to, partnering with you and taking this thing to the next level.
Oh, no, you're going to be doing all the work, so just get ready.
Fair enough. Awesome. Well, also want to thank all of you for watching and listening today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Building Value.